Yes, perfect. Okay. And first of all, I would just like to say thank you so much for joining this meeting and for your dedication to Mars Society and also to help GYP like promote this program. And then like we also would love to encourage more students from Global Youth Philanthropy to join our activities or participate in Mars Society.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here.
Okay. And if it is okay, would you like to start us off with a short self-introduction?
Absolutely. I am so happy and honored to be here. I am Nicole Willett. I am the Director of Education for the Mars Society. I have been in that role since 2012. I have a master's degree in astronomy, and my focus is in astrobiology. My bachelor's degree is in biology. And I was a classroom teacher for 20 years, and now I'm an adjunct professor of astronomy. And it is more important than ever on the heels of the incredible success of the Artemis mission. It is so important for students worldwide to understand that they too can join teams and create successful missions. And that is what the fifth annual Mission to Mars Design Engineering Competition is about.
Okay, awesome. So starting off with our first question that we would like to know about is what are the main goals that you hope students achieve through this program?
So I want students to understand, first and foremost, critical thinking, which is something that may have been lost in translation in traditional schools. Um, Teamwork, collaboration. We need, not every student is going to be involved in a sports activity. So, teamwork in other ways is very important. Some people may join drama and acting, band, or an engineering class, right? And so, this is to help students who may not fit in those other roles, or maybe they do, and they also want to join a team that will create together a beautiful and incredible mission to Mars.
Yes, I totally agree with that because in teamwork or any program or competition, like critical thinking and all these skills are really required for a student to work well and to improve themselves and working to the dedication to the competition and the program. And next, may you talk us through how the competition works from registration to the final judging or any other procedures?
I will first start with what the mission is. So, the mission is to prioritize scientific exploration, geology, climatology, astrobiology, physics, engineering, etc. And the students are asked to design a 1.5 year mission, surface duration on the surface of Mars, with constraints like 30 metric tons, a crew of up to six, and a maximum time on surface of 1.5 years. They are to address human factors like crew compatibility, how much food they would need on the trip there, on the ground, and on the trip back. What happens if there's a dispute? How do they resolve that? Who's in charge, right? And all the other factors that go into what happens when you're a human on a long duration space mission. Um, and again, to work collaboratively. So teams will be given, the teams will be maximum of 5 or 6 people, and they'll be able to decide who's going to be in charge of engineering, who's going to be in charge of the science, who's going to be in charge of human operations. This is a very much student-led competition. So they can learn how to think critically and how to solve problems and how to collaborate with each other. And then they will produce a technical report and defend their design. And that takes place during a 5 week time period. So the first 2 weeks, we will have some live NASA scientists, people who work in the space industry, professionals who will speak live via Zoom, which will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube for students in time zones around the world who may not want to wake up at 3 in the morning to join the live stream, right? Um, so everything is recorded for any student who cannot make it to a live event. So a couple hours, three to 4 days a week, the live talks will occur. So that's the first 2 weeks. Now the students will should have all of their teams assigned by the end of the first week. And once they are assigned a team, they will be able to start working. And then they will have, sorry, I needed to pause because I need to cough. Excuse me. Once they have their team assigned, they will be able to start deciding, okay, how is our mission going to go? How long are we going to stay? How many astronauts will we send? What jobs, what roles will the astronauts be in? And then they will be assigned to write a 25-page report with references without using AI. Very important. After 4 weeks. So they have 2 weeks of presentations. They should have their team assigned by the end of week one. So they will have 3 to 4 weeks to work on their paper and design and make a slideshow presentation where they will be presenting live. And if they're in another time zone, their team can pre-record if they're on the other side of the world. They'll be able to present their findings, present their plan. So depending on how many teams, they'll get 20 to 30 minutes. Last year we had about 20 teams or so, so their time was a little more limited. So about 20 minutes if there's a lot of teams. They will present their findings, and then that's on the Monday of the final week of the competition. And then on the Wednesday of the competition, they get to critique the other teams. So they have 48 hours to come up with a critique of the other team's designs. And then on the Friday of that last week, they get to defend the critiques from the other teams of their plan. And that is probably one of the most important parts of a design engineering competition because it's okay to accept constructive criticism from someone else. And it's also okay to defend your reasoning. It's also okay to change your mind. And maybe somebody pointed out something that you didn't think of. And that's the whole point of a competition like this, to learn and grow and become better at science and engineering.
Yes, I see. That is a very complete and I just feel like that is a very remarkable procedure because students are getting engaged with their teams and then they're like dedicating their time into presentations, they're doing reports, and I think that's really amazing. So expanding on the presentations for the reports that the students are required to write. So I wonder what are some potential challenges or problems that students are asked to solve, or like what are some things that often they find challenging to do?
So all of it is a challenge, right? Because no human has been on Mars. However, NASA and ESA and other space organizations around the world have done a lot of research on lunar exploration and Mars exploration. So there are a lot of scientists and researchers around the world that have published a lot of data and science and papers on what it would entail to accomplish this type of mission. So we have very detailed maps of the surface of Mars from all of the orbiters for the past, several decades. So they will be able to have access to those maps on NASA's website and other, ESA, other websites from space organizations. And they'll have to select a landing site based on the site's terrain and the scientific value. So is it a rocky terrain? Is it a mountain? Is it a valley? Are there minerals and nutrients there? Because we have data about what the regolith, which is dirt on Mars, is called. What is the regolith made of? Are there minerals there? Right? Is it important to go there? So that's the first challenge. They will have to design a habitat for the humans to survive in an atmosphere that humans cannot survive in. The atmosphere is very thin. It is mostly carbon dioxide. There's no oxygen to breathe. So they have to design a habitat for the humans to survive in, and provide life support. The water on Mars is frozen. How much water will they bring? Will they purify the water? How will they get food? So those are, life support questions. Power systems, what kind of power are they going to use? There's no electrical grid on Mars. So they're going to have to bring a way to have power. Will they use solar power? It's way farther away than the Earth from the sun. How will they make power? Will they use nuclear? Is that safe? Or some sort of hybrid, maybe geothermal, but then they'd have to find a geothermal vent. So they would have to manage power systems, and then plan surface exploration, and the vehicles if they decide to do that. It's not an absolute that they'll do that, but they may do that. What type of crew what type of crew composition will they need? Who will be, what job will this one have and what job will that one have? What if somebody gets sick? Is there going to be two doctors or one doctor? Well, what if the doctor's the one that gets sick? So you have to have redundancy of skills in your crew. And then communication with Earth, because there's a time delay. It's not like picking up your cell phone or texting your friend and getting an instant answer. There is a time delay up to 20 minutes from Mars to Earth. So if there's an emergency, you need to be able to think quick. Safety. How safe can you keep your crew? What happens if your return vehicle fails? Will you return? Is that part of the mission? Well, it's up to 18 months, so you have to plan for that as well. And then weight limits. So the more weight you add to a launch, the bigger the rocket you have to have. And the bigger the rocket, the more fuel, and the fuel adds weight. And so then you have to have a bigger rocket. So you have to find that balance. And then what scientific investigations will they use? What will they try to discover? Will they try to discover life, extant life on Mars, ancient life on Mars? Are they just going to study geology, the astronomy from the surface of Mars? Is it different than Earth? So those are just a few of the problem solving bullet points that they will have to think about.
Yes, that is actually a lot of information that like participants or students have to deal with. And expanding on how you talked about there's a lot of factors such as like power systems, like what to do with the water and everything such as that. Are there any hands-on experiences where are students required to make like or like 3D or real life models, simulations, anything relating to that?
So I have run this competition in person in several schools. And I've had students from other countries meet in the United States and do the competition in person. In an in-person competition, the students were required to do hands-on making habitat, making a rover, et cetera, et cetera. When the competition is fully online and worldwide, it's hard to require something like that because not every student from every country has access to the same types of materials, based on different socioeconomic issues or just based on what is available where they live. So in this competition online, there is no three-dimensional tangible um, thing made. Now, they are more than welcome as a team to make their own rover and make their own habitat, etc. It's not a requirement of the competition.
Yes, that is actually amazing where students are getting a chance to engage with these hands-on experiences. And for my next question, I would like to know what advice will you give to first-time participants who may have never been to Mars Society meetings, programs, or like any competitions such as this?
So the wonderful, wonderful thing about the internet when it is used properly is you can find out any bit of information about Mars or engineering or designing a competition that you want. You don't have to have any previous engineering classes because this is middle school to high school, like late middle school to high school, and most high schools do not offer engineering classes. This is more science than engineering specifically, right? So if you're aware that Mars exists, you can figure it out with your team. So I would say start with clear priorities. Science goals drive these decisions. Keep weight limits in mind early. Ensure redundancy in your crew skills and equipment. Redundancy is one of the most important things that happen on any space mission. And what that means is having a backup plan. Always have a backup of a backup, especially when you have to keep humans alive and you're flying, maybe 150 million kilometers away, right? Like you're going a far away and you can't call the ambulance. So you have to have redundancy. Um, Balance ambitious science with realistic logistics. It's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to stretch your limits, but you also have to be realistic. And then when your team is assigned, and you can join as a team, let me say that if you have a team of students and you want to join together, you may certainly join as a team, and I will honor that. There are a lot of individuals who join and they get placed on teams together based on their time zone. So you want to make sure that when you have your team in place, you divide up the responsibilities clearly among team members and everyone knows who's in charge of what. And that everyone on your team, especially if you join as a team, is really in the competition for real. And they aren't just there because they're your best friend, right? Are they really going to do the work? I would say when it's time to start presenting, just as in any debate club or speech class, practice, practice, practice. Practice your presentation repeatedly. Practice your defense repeatedly. The critiques are a little more lax because you might be critiquing 10 teams in 30 minutes. So it's not as formal, but the presentation and the defense are more formal. So practice, practice, practice. Make sure when you are doing your research, use credible references and use them properly, cite them properly. And then think about human needs. We need a lot. We have a lot of emotions and feelings, and think about that and not just always technology, technology, technology. There should be a balance.
Yes, that is really amazing, and how I totally agree with the fact that students need to team up with people that they feel like they're going to work the best with. And it is also really amazing for the fact that students are being placed with other students within their same time zones so that they can cooperate better. And I think that is a really good approach and helping with the student coordination. And expanding on how you mentioned that the program is targeting late middle school to high school students, how do you measure the long-term impact of participation on students' careers?
Um, so we have several students who use a lot of, we award first place overall, and then first, second, and third overall, and then each category gets a first place winner. So first place in engineering, human operations, or science. A lot of students use this on their college applications. A lot of students ask me to write letters of recommendation for their college applications. Many, many students come back and mentor teams for the years following. This is our fifth year. So we still have student involvement from the very first year, which is wonderful, which means this was very impactful to their lives and molded their scientific dreams permanently.
Yes, that's really nice how this program is like inspiring students with their career and how it can also like inspire their interest in learning about Mars society. They can also like spark their attention to like space exploration and scientific causes. And what I'd like to expand on that is what makes this program unique compared to other science for STEM competitions? Because out there, there's like a lot of similar programs with like science exploration, where students are also asked to write reports and they're like going to do presentations. And what I would like to wonder is that this program really offers some remarkable experiences, but like may you expand on how this is particularly unique compared to other programs?
The uniqueness is the first talk every year is by Dr. Robert Zubrin, who is the president and founder of the Mars Society, and students can log in live to the Zoom and ask him questions and communicate with him. That's first and foremost. That's not something that everybody gets to do, right? It's a very specific meeting. The other is NASA scientists who have worked on Mars missions and professionals in space industry who have worked on, parts of Mars missions or other missions to space are there in person on the Zoom live. So students have access to these professionals that most other students around the world do not ever get access to. And they usually agree to answer student questions by email later. So students, Dr. Chris McKay from NASA Ames in the Bay Area, he's always very generous with his time and he will answer student questions. I can send him a list of 10 student questions and within a day he's responded with these very specific details. So the professionals who do come on live to speak to the students are willing to answer questions live, time permitting, of course, and are willing to answer emails. And then Dr. Zubrin will, normally, time permitting, reads the papers at the end, and sometimes he'll give little critiques, again, time permitting. So it's a unique, and the students have access to my expertise as well, and I am always offering, like, okay, make sure your team is working on this, make sure your team is working on this, giving them enough leeway and freedom to make their own decisions, but again, keeping them on track. And each team gets assigned a mentor. They can bring a mentor with them that's not participating directly in the competition, or they will be assigned a mentor.
Yes, now I really see how special this program is because students who participate in it can gain like this sort of mentorship, and then they can also communicate with especially the president of the Mars Society, and also which really helps them build their network if they really want
Yes,
to engage with the field, right? And
absolutely.
what I would like to say for my next question is, how do you see programs like this shaping the future workforce for space exploration?
These types of programs build an interdisciplinary mindset for real missions. So anything you're doing with a space mission, you don't just know, like, I know a lot of planetary astronomy, but I can't just become an astronaut because I know that. I need to know a lot of different things about a lot of different science disciplines. It's a teacher would say, it's very cross-curricular, right? It's going to cover um, interpersonal relationships. It's going to cover, engineering, physics, astronomy, geology, astrobiology, et cetera, et cetera. It will cross the gamut of all of the different scientific subjects and human subjects, and it prepares them for careers in aerospace, robotics, planetary science, medicine, mission planning. It also encourages innovation and systems level thinking, which are critical for future Mars or lunar missions.
Yes, of course. And I also heard how you mentioned that students are able to bring a mentor with them, more like there will be assigned a mentor to help them throughout their competition. So, expanding on that, may you tell us more about how specifically can mentors help students or how they can work together to engage in the competition?
So the mentor's job is not to tell them what to do. It's not to tell them how to form their plan. The mentor's job is more keeping them on the track. You know, if the train starts to go off the track a little and they're not really progressing in their research, they're not really working well together as a team, the mentor is there to guide them to complete the mission, but not tell them what to do on the mission. And they absolutely, maybe one of the parents wants to be a mentor, maybe one of their teachers wants to be a mentor, maybe a family friend. They absolutely should have some experience mentoring. Um, and, or I assign a mentor. There are always groups of people who volunteer to mentor. And it's wonderful to make sure the kids lead their own competition without being told how to do it, but being kept on track to make sure they complete the mission.
Yes, that is really nice how mentors can like engage with students to help to keep them on the track of the program and how what students are doing, because most of the time or sometimes where students are first time participating in these programs or space exploration scientific programs or competitions, they do not really like fully know sometimes what they're doing, and sometimes
Right.
they also like need a little guide to explore into different fields. So
Absolutely.
and since that GYP is doing efforts about raising awareness to space problems and also like humanitarian problems through storytelling and like filmmaking, and we also have some film festivals which allows the students to engage. So what I would like to say is how can storytelling and media like film or journalism help amplify the impact of STEM programs like yours?
So, my opinion is art is extremely important, and storytelling is an art form. And it helps translate complex mission designs into very engaging narratives. Um, for example, media coverage can showcase student innovation. Media coverage can inspire younger students to pursue STEM, highlighting diversity in space careers, communicating the human side of exploration, and building public excitement for Mars missions. Films, podcasts, and journalism can turn technical designs of these missions into compelling visions of the future exploration, like the movie The Martian, or the movie Project Hail Mary, or the movie Interstellar. Those are three huge blockbuster movies that have turn students who may just see the movie, for fun, but may have sparked something and inspired them to start thinking about, in The Martian, going to Mars, right? So art is very important. Storytelling is very important. Proper media representation is very important to any scientific endeavor.
Yes, I totally agree with that because like representations or video filming journalism, they can all help spread the word basically, and then like to draw more attention to engage with more students and offer them an opportunity to participate in such programs to like explore what they are interested in. So with that in mind, are there any barriers to entry, and how does the program work with them?
So if someone wants to register, I can provide you the link for registration. You can also email me, Nicole W. at marssociety.org for more information. The fee is $99 per student. There are scholarships available. If you are interested in getting a scholarship, you can email me as well, Nicole W. at marssociety.org, and I will send you the steps. To apply for the scholarship. It doesn't take that long. It's not a big, long form or anything. It's just answering a few questions. Because we do realize not everyone is able to pay the $99. The world's kind of crazy right now. And science is for everyone, not just an elite few who can afford it. And so our goal is to get science to as many people across the world as possible.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And with that in mind, What are some resources where you recommend for students who want to start preparing now? Or what would you recommend students to do right now if they want to join the competition or if they're interested in the STEM or scientific field?
So I would start with the Mars Society's YouTube channel. There's a playlist for the engineering design competition. It has all of the videos from all of the presentations from all of the scientists and students over the past 4 years. So you can see what caliber scientists will be presenting at these competitions. And you can see the presentations from other teams and the critiques and the defenses. So I would start there and see if that looks like something you'd be interested in. Also, you can go to nasa.gov and put in Mars exploration or, Mars on NASA's website, something like that. ESA, which is the European Space Agency, they have plenty of Mars information on their website as well. Marspedia.org has, it's like Wikipedia, but for Mars, it has a lot of Mars specific articles only if you're into reading, complicated articles about Mars. Um, and I would say if your parents give you permission, watch The Martian because it's a very inspiring movie and it's literally the Martian movie, stated by Andy Weir, the author of the book, was based on Dr. Robert Zubrin's plan, Mars Direct plan, to go to Mars. He wrote that in the 80s or 90s, I believe, the Mars Direct Plan, Robert Zubrin presented it to NASA, and then years later, Andy Weir wrote The Martian, about 85% based on Dr. Zubrin's Mars Direct Plan.
Yes, that's awesome. And all of those are really credible and really interesting sources that students can look into before they start to participate or before they start to prepare for their competition and their projects. So, what I would like to ask, like, additional information is that are there any specific dates that the competition starts to the competition ends throughout the year?
So the competition runs this summer, and the dates are June 8th through July 10th. The registration date is set for May 15th, I believe, but we usually do extend that just to get a few more people, give them a little more time because we realize school's still usually going in the middle of May. So we usually extend that to the 1st of June. But you can go to education.marssociety.org and you can see the registration there.
Of course, that is really good information where students can apply for the registration when they're interested. And with that application in mind, I would like to wonder like or get more information about are there any specific things that students need to pay attention to during the application process, or what are the judges who are receiving the application value in student?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. The question is there. Yeah.
The application is basically just information, your email, your parents' email, how to contact you. It's not an application of, oh, you might not get in. If you're dedicated enough, you know that that's your decision and your parents give you permission to do it, first and foremost, then everyone can join. It's just once you're there, are you willing to do the work and complete the process?
Yeah, that is wonderful to hear about because with that in mind, we can just say that all students who are interested in the field and in the competition can get a chance to participate. And
Correct.
so that really helps everyone to spark their interest and to help them engage more with the field.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's science is for everyone. It's not for a select few. It's for everyone.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
Mhm.
And so what are your future plans for this program?
Well, we have big plans for the program. We want to expand it even more internationally. We are always adding more guest experts and lectures by we try to make sure we have a broad diversity of scientists and experts who are presenting because not every expert agrees with how to go about exploring space. So we do sometimes have different opinions with our expert guests. So that's really important as well because it makes the students think, which one is right? Or are both of them right a little bit in their own way? So we're always adding more expert guest lectures. We are always increasing the interdisciplinary collaboration, and we want to continue to do that. We have published student designs in the past, and it takes a long time to get that completed. And maybe in the future, we may do more publishing of the student designs in a print book. You can actually buy the first 2 years print book on Amazon. And we want to enhance student mentorship opportunities. So we want more and more students from previous years to continue helping the students who are participating in the competition now. And of course, integrating new Mars technologies that are being created as the years go by in the competition, the real technologies that are being invented and improving, and letting students realize they can implement that into their designs, and then continuing to grow partnerships with other organizations.
That's really interesting. And you have also mentioned how past students or participants from the project can still engage with the following year's competition to help students who
Yes.
are participating in that year. So may you expand on how students can follow along with the competition or learn more from the participants of previous years or previous projects?
So are you meaning like students who are interested in joining this year? How can they get in contact with previous year students?
Yes.
So I would say if you are watching the replays and you see a student that you particularly interested in contacting, or if you read the book that is available on Amazon, it's also on education.marssociety.org. There's a link for the book there. If you're interested in a specific student, please email me, Nicole W. at marssociety.org, and I will ask their permission for you to contact them. And
Mhm.
most of them are fine with being contacted, but I do want to ask their permission.
Yes, that's really nice to hear how students who are maybe not as experienced in joining the competition, they can also get some extra help from previous competitors or previous participants or previous mentors to lead the way of throughout this competition.
Right, exactly. It's wonderful.
Mhm. Yes, and with that, I would like to thank you so much for joining us today, and on behalf of Global Youth Philanthropy, because we're really interested in Mars Society programs and causes, and we will really love to spread the word and to encourage students from GYP internationally to participate in the program. If they're interested in STEM majors, they're interested in science or space exploration, aerospace engineering, and everything like that. Again, thank you so much for joining, and we're really honored to be here and to hear about all these amazing information that the program is doing.
Thank you so very much. And would you please send me the link when you share it?
Yes, of course. And afterwards, we are going to do some extra editing to make it look more prettier, professional, and we are going to post it on our YouTube channel. If you're
Oh,
interested, we can send you like a link or our YouTube account
yes,
direction or something like that. Yeah.
perfect. And
Mhm.
cut out my cough.
Yes, of course.
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's fine, totally fine.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and I'm glad that you guys are doing the Global Youth Philanthropy. It's wonderful.
Yes.
You have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye.